So today I'm going to be doing a tier list for all the rods in Fish on Roblox. So let's go ahead and just get straight into it. So we have X tier up here. The first one going in this will be the magma rod. So basically X tier, this is like rods that without them you can't really fish in specific places. They're not necessarily good, they're just necessary for fishing in certain areas. So magma you need for roslet lava. It's not a very good rod, but you do need it to be able to fish there. Next we have the reinforced rod. It's needed to fish a brine pool, which contains one of the rarest fish in the game. If you're going to fish at normal places, then rank this one about tier A. Would really recommend resilience, controlled, or quality enchants on this though, if you use it anywhere else. And yes, that's this first tier done. And now for the S tier. So the first one is going to be the trident rod. So this one is like currently the best rod in the game, like in Fish. It's like got like a perfect mix of catching rare fish and like making good money as well. There's like a 30% chance to increase value of fish by 300% on this rod. So right now this is like meta fishing rod. Is crazy good. And then the next one we have here in S tier is going to be the mythical rod. So this one is a must-have rod really. It's like the best moneymaker rod in the game. It has a 30% chance to increase the value of fish by 450%. Which is more than the trident rod, but the trident rod has a higher chance to give rare fish, which is why they're both up here. They're both very important to use. And now the next rod in the S tier is going to be the King's Rod. There's two images of this one for some reason, but anyway, King's Rod is in S. It's the best rod for rare fish. It's really good. It increases the size of your fish by 10%, which can go a really long way late game. So that's why this one is in S tier. And now our last S tier is going to be the Destiny Rod. So this one is probably the worst out of all the S tiers, but it's still obviously an S tier rod. It is quite good. The stats are bad on it, but it does have 250% luck. And if you can afford this rod, then you can probably afford to enchant it with like control or resilience, which will even it out to make it an S tier rod. So now for the A tier rods, it's quite self-explanatory, like just one step down from the S tiers. So the first one's going to be the magnet rod. It's the best money maker for starters. If you have hasty on this, you can get like 25k per hour using the magnet rod. So it's a good one for people who are just starting the game, not anyone who's like late game, because obviously there's way better ones up here in the S tier. And now for the next rod in A tier, it's going to be the steady rod. So it's the cheapest rod that you can use to catch a Nessie, but other than that, its resilience and controlled stats is like pretty bad. You really need like a hasty or divine enchant on this to make it any good. Yeah, it's good for trying to catch Nessies obviously at the start, well in an earlier level, but obviously you can get to better rods as you progress. And then next we have the rapid rod. So this one it's like it's fun to use this rod. You can easily catch legendaries if you're good enough. If you pair this up with hasty or swift, then you can lure a fish in under one click. So yeah, it's just an A tier rod. It's okay. And then next we have the nocturnal rod, also going in A tier. So it's pretty average stats on this rod, and it can catch fish that prefer night or day, any time of the day. So it's like the only reason it's up here, but that is the point of the rod obviously. Yeah, not good enough to be an S tier, but I don't think it's bad enough to be like a B or C tier, so just here in the A tier for now. And now the last rod for the A tier is going to be the haunted rod. So this one's, it's like decent overall stats. It's like okay to use. Obviously A tier. The only thing that's lacking is its max weight on it, but it is free, so you know that's also a plus for the rod. And it does allow you to catch the fish fright mutations all year round. So obviously, exclusive perk to this rod. Not good enough for S tier though, obviously, because the weight is too low. So now for the B tier. So these rods, they're below average rods and have some niche uses, but it's basically just a downgrade of the A tier rods. The first one will be the fungal rod. This rod is free and it has a 70% chance to give luck 4 for 45 seconds after a catch, which you can also use with other rods, so it basically just makes it a support rod, which is why it's down here in B tier. Now the next one in B tier is going to be the fortune rod. This one is basically just a downgraded destiny rod. Yeah, that's all there is to say about it. It's just a destiny rod that's not as good. And then next we have the carbon rod. This one is really good for beginners, like people who have just started playing the game. You can catch some good fish for early game with it. That's basically all there is to say about this rod. It's good for people who are just starting. And then we have the Medias rod. This one has a 60% chance to double the value of the fish, but its general stats are really bad, so it's not recommended to use this rod. That's why it's down in B tier, but it does have that good trait on it. Then we have the fast rod. Basically, the fast rod is just like a downgraded rapid rod. All of its stats, except lure speed, is slightly better than the raid rod. It's pretty good for beginners if you want to catch fish like as fast as possible. It's called the fast rod for a reason. And now we have the C tier rods. So these ones, no reason to use it unless you are like a complete beginner to the game, you don't have anything else to use. So the first one's going to be the plastic rod. Yeah, it has some good stats considering it only costs 900, so it's like the best rod for beginners probably, like complete beginners. And now we have the lucky rod. The stats of this rod are ever so slightly better than the fortune rod, except the luck stats are still pretty bad. Better off with the carbon rod if you are new to the game. And now we have the long rod. This one, it kind of just exists. It's got good lure and luck for beginners, but got a negative 0.1 control bar size, so unless you're really good with the mini games, just don't bother using the long rod. And then we have the flimsy rod in D tier and the training rod in D tier. Training rod is like, can be good for AFKing, but like only like early game if you have not much else to use. I use it personally with a macro, or I have used it, and I mean it's okay. Obviously with the 70% luck debuff, you're not gonna get anything rare, but it just fishes average fish, and it works like 99% of the time. It's hard for the macro to miss it. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the training rod. And obviously we have the Aurora rod. It's just come out. From people who do have it, they're saying it's mid, so I'd say it's probably going to be an A tier or a B tier, probably not going to be in the S tier bracket from what people are saying already, and the rods ain't just come out.